G'day folks, welcome to the beautiful St. John River. Marcus Arby here in Mageville. Time for another political river rant. Today I'm going to speak about the hot button topic of glyphosate spraying. But before I get into that, I'm going to give you a little history lesson on spraying in New Brunswick and a little history lesson on my family. Now, back in the 50s, more predominantly in the late 60s and into the 70s and 80s, over here at CFB Gagetown, they sprayed a chemical known as Agent Orange. Now, at the time, there was some rumblings here and there that it might not be good for folks, but they continued to spray it. It was a defoliant that, killed off leaves off trees and things like that, allowed soldiers to be able to see clear through a battlefield at times of war. It was used in Vietnam. Anyway, come 20, 30 years later, it ended up costing the federal government, I believe, $100 million in compensation packages, because it turns out that Agent Orange was carcinogenic. It caused birth defects and a lot of other maladies that caused a lot of people to die and caused a lot of hardship to New Brunswickers. Now, there was people at the time that ignored the possibility that this could be a problem. And there's people that say, maybe it wasn't the Agent Orange that caused these issues, but I have a story for you that might change your mind if you're one of those people. And that brings us into the Harvey boys. Now, let's go over here and meet my Uncle Gerald. He lived just down the road from me. He was here during the Agent Orange spraying. He died of cancer. Just up the road from me was my Uncle Carl. He was also here in Mageville during the spraying of Agent Orange. He died of cancer. And there's my dad, Lawrence. You guessed it. He lived in Mageville during the spraying of Agent Orange, and he also died of cancer. But if you remember correctly, I said there was 4 boys. There's the last one right there, along with myself. A couple of handsome buggers, eh? That's my Uncle Charles. He lived and is still alive today. But during the time of the spraying of Agent Orange, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, he was doing the Lord's work over in Africa as a missionary. So, bit of a compelling story for all of you naysayers that say maybe the Agent Orange wasn't the cause of these deaths. It's pretty compelling, I'd say. So let's skip forward now to 2018 and the glyphosate controversy. Now, what is glyphosate used for? It's used by the big forestry industries to spray on forests, and it kills off grass, weeds, more importantly hardwood trees, so that they have easier access and better growing conditions for the softwood lumber industry. Now, there's another way that you can also thin out those hardwood trees to help your softwood lumber grow, and it's called this right here. That, folks, is called a chainsaw. Now, if you take a few thousand New Brunswickers and put them on the end of a chainsaw, they can do that work and get rid of those hardwood trees, and we could get rid of the potential risks of glyphosate spraying. But anyway, let's talk about those risks, because it's kind of wishy-washy right now. There was a study done in California that said that glyphosate is a carcinogen, will cause cancer. The World Health Organization has deemed that they're not going to say it causes cancer, but they say it probably does. I know Quebec has banned it outright. They don't spray it at all. So here's your options. There's 4 Harvey boys still left in Mageville, myself and my 3 sons. So I put it to you as New Brunswickers in a chance and a hope that you will learn from our past. What would you rather do right now? Would you rather employ 1,000 New Brunswickers on the end of a chainsaw, put them to work, spend the millions now, create some jobs, better the New Brunswick economy, and potentially keep us healthier for the rest of our lives? Or shall we keep going with the glyphosate spraying and take the chance that, 20 years down the road, we're going to end up spending hundreds of millions of dollars compensating people who have lost family, friends, life, limbs, and whatnot else from the glyphosate spraying? I know it's a no-brainer for me. I was alive when Agent Orange was being sprayed, so the chances, my clock's probably ticking on me. But I'd like my kids to be employed, healthy, and grow up in New Brunswick and maybe live to see my grandkids. Now, if you were to ask our good friends in the government, Brian Gallant, what's going on with the glyphosate spraying? He gives it a thumbs up. Keep on rolling. Don't learn from our past. Blaine Higgs, he wants to do more studies. So I'll tell you what, Blaine, do you want to go back and ask my father and my dead uncles how those studies work out? Yeah, I didn't think so. So friends, family in New Brunswick, French, English, natives, otherwise, This is a problem and a potential health risk for all of us that can be avoided. And not only can be avoided, but we can use other methods, get on the end of a chainsaw, create some jobs, and better our economy. You know, back in the past when Agent Orange was being sprayed, it was liberals in power, then conservatives, then liberals, then conservatives. We got to learn from our history, folks, because if you don't learn from your history, you're doomed to repeat it. So come election day, remember how the two main parties stand on this. Glyphosate spraying, liberals, thumbs up, conservatives, let's just do a few more studies. Meanwhile, the potential is there for us to have a really rough time in a couple of decades if this turns out to be as bad as some people say it is. So learn from history, folks. Be educated. When you go out to vote, make that correct choice. The choice for New Brunswick, the choice for our future, and the choice for our kids, and the choice for our economy. Anyway, as always, it is a fantastic day outside. It's warmed up, beautiful along the river. Get out there and enjoy it if you can. And more importantly, on September the 24th, next Monday, make sure you get out there and vote. And let's get this province cleaned up. Get rid of the old, in with the new. God love you. Talk to you again.